Yo, what up, dogs? I went and saw A Haunting in Venice last week on Thursday at 7 o'clock. I went after work. I had a quick little nap in, and I decided to go to the east end of town because that's the only place that was just playing it in good old-fashioned regular viewing, you know? If I went to the other spot, they had it in IMAX, and I didn't feel like paying that price. So I went to the East End, got myself a standard ticket online. There was like 10 people in the audience when I ordered online. And then when I got there, I got myself some concessions. And man, I really wish they'd bring back the M&M peanut butter M&Ms, man. They just hit differently, and they never have them anymore, and it kind of annoys me. Maybe I might sneak them in someday, but I got there with my concessions, and when I got into the actual theater, there was like 30, maybe 40 people in there, and it was a very wide age range of people that actually showed up to see this movie. I was kind of surprised. I was expecting another theater full of old heads again, but no, it was a good mixture of everybody, and maybe there is a fan following for this kind of franchise, this murder mystery franchise, but I liked this movie. After watching it, I thought, hey, that wasn't bad. I enjoyed myself. And I think everyone else who left the theater too was like, I was entertained. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like we all were like, oh, that's cool. And I never read the book. It's called Halloween Party by Agatha Christie. So I had no clue what to expect from this movie. And I watched the other ones, Murder on the Orient Express and Death on the Nile. And I liked Murder on the Orient Express more than Death on the Nile. And this one is just kind of more of the same. So if you like murder mystery movies, you're going to like it. Like, if you like the genre of film, you'll like it. You know what I'm saying? And let's get into it, you know? I have one little nitpick I want to point out. Man, I don't want to, but I should. But like, this dude had to have his phone on so many times while I was watching this movie. And he was like right beside me, like kitty corner to the left. So his bright ass phone was just glowing into my eye so often. Like, I wanted to say something, but I thought, you know what? He's going through some stuff, because like the walls of text that were being sent to him, I was like, dude, you need to leave, man. You got a fire going on your phone. You got to go handle this. And he actually looked very distressed when he was getting these messages. And I was kind of like, you could leave. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't need to do this, dog. You can go home. Go and handle your business, you know? This movie will be out on Hulu in probably a couple of weeks. Do not worry about it, you know? So that was annoying. It really was annoying. But eventually, I put my popcorn bag in such a way where it just blocked the glare off of him. He was on the phone so many times, guys. Like, I'm not even crapping with you, man. Like, he was like, the movie's an hour and 43 minutes, and I would say he was on his phone for like 43 of those minutes. It was annoying. It was. Anyways, let's get into this movie a little bit here after that little nitpick. Man, if you need to use your phone, I get it. Sometimes an emergency's happening, you gotta look at it quick. But like, get up and go outside and use your phone. I don't know. Anyways, this movie, I looked it up on the internet for a little bit of the budget. I did the Googling, and the movie Google said that this film was made for $60 million. That was the budget for it. Supposedly, this was also a lesser budget than Death of the Nile. So I didn't even look into how much Death of the Nile was made for, but this was a smaller budget because I guess it has actually a very smaller cast, and it's also set in one location. So, which is Venice. So they had a nice little vacation in Venice for $60 million. The domestic box office so far is $14 million brought in, and the international is $22 million brought in, and that makes it for a worldwide release of $36 million. And yeah, that's pretty cool, right? It's made half of its money back so far. It still probably needs to make like $90 more million, maybe even $100 more million to really be like, it broke even, you know, and everyone got their cut. So I don't know if this film will make it. $100 million more dollars, that's a lot of money. And if you're looking at how the budgets have been working out, or the box offices have been working out lately for a lot of these films, some of them aren't making it to the 100 million. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. like we'll see. Do you guys think it will make it to say $130 million? I don't think it's going to make it to $100 million, but we'll see. It's only week 1, right? So we'll see. Anyways, this movie is directed by and stars Kenneth Branagh. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I'm horrible at these names, guys. You know this. I'm trying my best. I will, every year I'll get better at these names. I swear, I will. So he's the director. He's returned for the 3rd time. This is his 3rd movie in this franchise. And in this directorial, I can't say debut, triplet, I don't think that's correct. He really goes for a different thematic approach where he's using a lot more horror, suspense, and darkness, and a lot of POV, forced perspective, and he's definitely hitting those Dutch angles from all different type of angles. He's using up shot angles, low shot angles. The forced perspective stuff is really nice. It's really dark, like shadow-wise. There's a lot going on in here where the shadows are designed in a way to play with your mind and your imagination because of this dark palacio that he's built up around this character. So you don't know what's creeping in the shadows or what's lurking and stuff. And the intensity built from these angles is really nicely well done. And there is the odd jump scare in there because this is kind of like a horror movie, but I think it's more psychological, more thriller, in the sense of spookiness of ghosts, right? Like that's what we're dealing with here in this movie. It's a haunting movie, but it's not jump scare. Like there's one jump scare, maybe 2, but like it's not like a horror movie like say like The Nun 2 that just came out and stuff like that, where you're going to be, people are getting killed and murdered, like gushing blood and gore and stuff like that. Like you're not getting that in this. This is a very like drilled down, sophisticated horror movie that I think everyone should check it out if you're into horror stuff, because it's just different. You know what I'm saying? It's really a throwback. I think it's like a throwback to like the 50s style of horror movies in a sense. You know what I'm saying? So it's really psychological, and you're kind of like, what is going on here? You know, and I really appreciated a lot in this movie. So we have Hercule Poirot returning once again, and this time he's now in Venice. It's post World War II. So 1945, 6, 7-ish, around there, right? And he's retired from the game, and he wants to be left alone. And he's hired a retired cop named Vitali Portfogoli, who's played by Riccardo Scamarcio. And like I said, he's a retired police officer. He used to work for the Venice police force. Now he is a bouncer / bodyguard to Hercule. And whenever Hercule goes out, there's people waiting in line for him to solve murder mysteries for them, and he doesn't want anything to do with them, you know, so he's always keeping them at a bay, you know, get them away from me. So he lives his life like this now, and we see him interact with Venice and stuff like that, and showing his lifestyle. And eventually he gets a message in the form of an apple from a good friend of Hercule's past has returned, and she is Eridine Oliver, who's played by Tina Fey, and she's an author / novelist who has written books in the past about his exploits, Hercule's exploits, and has sort of made him the household name that he is today through her novels. So he agrees to meet with her, and they have a little chat, and she is like, hey, I'm in town doing an investigation for a new book on Rowena Drake, who is played by Kelly Reilly. And she is a retired opera singer who lost her daughter to a tragic suicide incident, right? And what Rowena wants to do is host a Halloween party on the 30th. I believe 30th, which is Devil's Night. And she's hired a medium, Miss Reynolds, who's played by Michelle Yeoh, to come and do a seance so they can communicate to her dead daughter, Alicia. And that's what Oliver wants to investigate and see, like, is this real and can I get a story out of it? She wants to write a new novel, right? So begrudgingly, Hercule's like, fine, I'll go, but I have nothing to do with any of this. Like, he doesn't believe it or anything like that, but he'll go to the party and kind of just be like, I will amuse you. You know what I'm saying? Because she wants to use Hercule's skills of deduction to kind of see if the medium, Miss Reynolds, is a fake or not. Like, that's all she doesn't want him to solve a murder mystery. She wants him to solve whether or not this person is real. They can really tap into the supernatural elements that she says she's claimed to do, right? And then Hercule himself does not believe. He doesn't even believe in God. He's just like, because he's seen so much nasty stuff, he's like, I don't believe. I'm not a believer anymore. So let's do this. So he goes to the party, and at the party, we learn a story about the Palazzo that Rowena owns, right? And it's haunted. This Palazzo is notoriously known as a haunted place because of the history of it. That it used to be, what was it? I can't remember if it was an orphanage or a hospital. But what happened is all the children that were there were kind of like, I want to say like, not experimented on, but like very mistreated by nurses and doctors there. So it could have been a hospital for children, sick children, or maybe an orphanage that was just ran by doctors and nurses and stuff like that. I don't know how the Italians did things back then, right? But what happened was a lot of those kids died. And those kids that died cursed the building, and they go after children. And that is what they think killed Alicia, as she killed herself mysteriously. They think that the ghosts of this house are what drew her to kill herself. So Perot's like, nah. He's not believing any of this, right? And it's a really cool scene. They do a really cool puppet show here that shows the story and stuff. So then Michelle Yeoh's character shows up, Miss Reynolds, and we're also like, she shows up, right? And she's cool in this movie, by the way. I actually really liked her character. I'm going to try not to spoil things going forward, but because like it's a murder mystery, you want to know, you got to figure it out yourself, you know. So there's not going to be too many spoilers, actually. I hope. I'm hoping. You know what happens. So she shows up and she's like, I want to use Alicia's room as the seance area. So they prep it all. And there is an assistant, Olga Semenov, who's played by Camille Cottin. She's very God-fearing, and she doesn't like Miss Reynolds at all. She thinks she's related to Satan because of the powers that she may possess. So they set up the room, and the seance happens. And, oh, sorry, I forgot to mention that where's his name? So there was an invitation also sent out to Maxime Gerard, who's played by Kyle Allen, and that is the former lover of Alicia. They were supposed to be married and whisk off together to America because he's a chef, and that's where he wants to go, is to live in America. So he shows up, and we also have the doctor, Dr. Leslie Farrier, who's played by Jamie Dornan, who is He is later explained as the doctor/physician who looked after Alicia as she was going through her psychosis and mental states of, like, because Alicia, they break Alicia down. She goes mental, and that's what they think the ghost did and drove her insane enough to kill herself. So he was her physician, and we also learn about this character that he fought. He didn't fight in the war, but he was in the war as a medic doctor there. Maybe he fought. And he has PTSD, he has a lot of trauma, and he does a lot of drugs to cope with this trauma, and it's not helping him at all, you know? And he also has a little son with him who was friends with Alicia as he was a boy growing up, and he's just like a little 12-year-old, you know what I'm saying? And his name is Leopold Ferrier, who's played by Jude Hill, and like I said, he's the son. He is, he's kind of the anchor to when his father has his panic attacks and like kind of loses his mind. Leopold's always there at his father's side, being like, Dad, it's me, come back, you know what I'm saying? So he always brings him back to reality. It's a nice father-son moments in this film with him. They're really weird. And also Leopold is weird. This shows him reading Edgar Allan Poe novel. And it kind of shows like he's into dark stuff, you know what I'm saying? He's a mystery. So anyways, that is the that's pretty much everyone that's set up for the murder mystery. Now, I'm missing two characters because I'm just going to introduce them right now, though. So there's two people. There is a person that works for Miss Reynolds, right? And her name is Desmona Holland, who's the assistant to Miss Reynolds. And as the seance goes on, it's your typical seance, right? And it's actually really well shot, but Hercule knows that it's all bullshit, you know? And he breaks it. He cracks the seance cahoots, right? And says, there's someone in the chimney. And so there is, which is Nicholas Holland, who is the brother to Desmona, who's played by Ali Khan. And they are both Romani refugees that work for Miss Raymond. Now, this here should be like, oh, the story's done. Like, all Tina Fey's character, Oliver, is just like, yeah, okay, it's a hoax, blah, blah, blah. But then Miss Reynolds is actually possessed. Right? And something is happening to her. She's being possessed by Alicia. And she is trying to communicate to her mother and those at the seance that she was murdered. And so, Mr. Hercule is on the case. He locks down the palazzo and tells the cop to be like, you tell the police officers that Hercule is on the case. It's going to get solved, and the movie begins, so to speak. It begins, the first half is setting up the characters, little bits of their story. Then you get to the seance, and then once that seance hits, the movie begins. The murder mystery begins, okay? Because I can't talk about it from this point on, about the murder mystery. Because I want you guys to go and enjoy this movie. I want you to enjoy it. That being said, I could just say spoiler alert right now, so you could turn off this video, go watch my other stuff, and we could talk about it. So that's what we're going to do. Let's talk about it, okay? You got a warning right now. 3, 2, 1. Spoilers are incoming because I do want to talk about some things in this film. I got more notes. So, Michelle Yeoh's character, Miss Reynolds, is awesome. I really liked every minute she's on the screen. Unfortunately, she's the first to die. And then you're just like, what? She dies. And yeah, wow. And you're like, oh, because she's a star. You know what I'm saying? Like, this movie has TV stars, like TV actors and stars, right? Because you got Tina Fey and Kelly Reilly, who are, you know, Tina Fey, 30 Rock, and Kelly Reilly's Yellowstone, right? Then you have our movie stars, and then you have a bunch of European and unknowns that are getting into this, you know, into the movie scene. So you're not expecting movie star, Oscar winner, Michelle Yeoh to, boom, die. And she does. And you're just like, well, that's a wrap. It was cool. It was definitely an impactful moment for me. I was just like, oh, well, damn, there she goes, because she's actually really cool, and she delivers some really good lines in this. Now, let me just talk one thing about this movie before I go and ruin it anymore for you. There is a thing. Some people in this film, some people might not like this movie because it's very theatrical, in a sense of like not cinema but theater, and how the lines and characters, how they're delivered, how the characters kind of act, feels very theatric and very big and grandiose sometimes. Some of the dialogue is very long, and there's things being said, you know, it's got a rhythm to it that's very theater, and that might turn people off. It doesn't play like a movie. You know what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense. But I liked it. I liked it. So Michelle Yeoh dies. And then, like, because, like, I think people aren't going to like Tina Fey's character in this at all. Because, like, Tina Fey really not hams it up, but, like, it feels like she's acting, not acting. If you know what I'm saying? It feels like she's acting for theater, and she wants to kind of put a little accent into her voice, like I'm American, like something's weird from the fifth. There's something's weird about her character, but yeah, you'll see it. You'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. Anyways, so now the murder mystery begins, right? Perot locks everything down. No one's allowed to leave, and he starts investigating and questioning everyone. And that's the whole movie now. He's questioning everyone. He's trying to piece all the puzzle pieces together, and it's fun because like there's a ghost element to this too, and he's trying to also unravel, is the ghost even real? Like we as the audience are with Hercule going, is this real? Because what's being presented to him and to us is like, is there really ghosts here? And he's finding clues that show like, oh, it's just loud noises, or it's this thing, or it's that thing that's like, this house isn't haunted. It's the like things are happening that don't make sense, but they do make sense when you're using your critical thinking. So there's a lot going on here in that regards, and that is fun. It's fun. It's fun. And as he's figuring stuff out, and who does what, and when he, so there's like three things that go on in this film, okay? There is a one subplot that he figures out that Olivier, or Oliver, is in cahoots with his bodyguard, Vitale. And you don't expect that to happen. And you're just like, what? That is cool. So you'll see that part. That is cool. And you're just like, damn, I wasn't expecting that. That was a story plot I was not expecting. And then we get to the main who did it. And you're like, oh, that's cool. That's how she did it. And then he unveils how he is seeing ghosts, which is all a part of the whodunit. And then at the end, we learn about the blackmailer who is, you wouldn't expect it. So it's actually really cool. So I don't think I spoiled anything, because it was like, there's a lot of he, she, who, what. We don't know all of it. I don't think I spoiled it all, but because I wanted to say that, tell you guys that Michelle Yeoh dies, because it's a very pivotal point. That's like, that's when the murder mystery begins. The seance happens, and you think, oh, everything's chill, and then the murder mystery begins, and then it's cool. It's fun. It's fun. You know what? It's fun. That's what we're gonna call it. It's fun. Spoilers are over. I hope I didn't ruin it. But it's fun, and I'd like to say, like, sometimes you might find it a little boring at times, but I think it pushes through it, you know, because like the darkness, like I said, it plays with your mind. You're seeing things in the darkness. There's really cool angles, really good tension building. There is a jump scare that doesn't need to be there, but it's still neat because it plays on to the actual murder mystery side of things, of like what's happening in this room or in this house or the Palazzo, and also stuff that happens to Hercule, right? So it's fun. And then like, yeah, it's fun. And then after he figures everything out, you know, the story ends happily ever after, and he becomes he gets like reinvigorated to solve cases again. So that's really the movie. That's really it. I got nothing else to say about it. Will I buy this film? That's a tough one. Because like sometimes when you watch murder mysteries, you don't really need to watch them ever again. It's kind of like a one and done for me. But you know what? If I saw this in a bundle, like if I was buying something off of the Facebook Marketplace, and like they had like 20 movies in there for $5 and one of them was in there, I wouldn't be upset that it was added to my collection. I don't think I would go out and buy this instantly, but I would watch it again in like a year or two on like, you know, it'll probably be on Disney Plus in like a couple months anyways. So yeah, I'd watch it again. Do I recommend you guys to go and watch it? Yeah, I would. Especially if you're looking for something different to watch in your Halloween rotation of horror movies. It's something different. It's still a Halloween movie, and it's just something different. So I think I would recommend it in that regards, of just like, if you're tired of slashers and gore and all that, and you just want something a little different, maybe you would watch this and you would maybe enjoy it as well. Yeah, so And it kind of sucks that it came out in September. Like, I don't know why this didn't come out in October, like a proper Halloween release. I don't know. So, yeah, see it when it comes out on digital, or go and see it now, especially if you just want something different. It's different. It's definitely see it on a cheap night. It could be a good date night movie too, actually. That could be. Yeah. Well, that's all I got to say right now. That's it. The movie review's over. I hope you enjoyed it, and I gotta go. I have to actually go to work tonight. It's guys. I don't stop working. Only a couple more months. Anyways, whatever movie you guys are watching, I really hope you guys are enjoying it. And yeah, I'm out of here, guys. Peace out. Bye.